Welcome to another edition of a Brobdingnagian Minute. How long is a Brobdingnagian Minute? Well, with daylight savings time coming up, well, it's not as long as we thought it was. We're about to lose an hour of that minute.
Yeah, we are. I'm Mark Gunn.
And I'm Andrew McKee.
We're the Brobdingnagian Bards, and I'm certainly not happy about daylight savings time.
Yeah, they always talk, they taunt us year after year about, hey, we're going on daylight savings time and staying there, we're cutting it out or whatever, and you don't have to worry about this anymore, and servers are not going to go down, dogs and cats will not live together, no mass hysteria. And it's, nope, lies.
It is true. So, well, not much we can do about that, I guess, at this point in time. But all right. Well, before we get started, we do want to thank all of our Nagians. They do finance our music entirely through monthly generosity, and we do that through Patreon. Now, you may have heard us say we are not doing a Bard's Patreon page in the past, and that was a bloody lie by us. Or rather, we changed our minds. It's kind of weird because we were planning on getting rid of the Patreon page, but then all of a sudden, Patreon changed what they do, how they do things. They now have a free version of Patreon where you can follow someone, follow a Patreon page for free and get some stuff as a part of a subscription. And what I realized is that it basically means Patreon could be a blog for us. And so I wanted a place to post news that was not having to write actual HTML code and putting it on our website. So I was like, well, let's just use Patreon. So Patreon is back. And the Bard's Patreon has not gone away. So you can now sign up at several different levels, though it all gets you the same stuff. And you get some podcasts as well, including the patron-only version of the podcast. We did spend a little bit of time before this talking about Wild Mountain Thyme and public domain, which is an interesting discussion. So you kind of want to check it out. Go support us over on Patreon at patreon.com/thebards. And of course, Andrew and I are both over on Patreon. So Andrew, right now you're at the Sherwood Forest Fair.
Correct.
And I want to know one thing about Sherwood Forest Fair that's new and interesting this year that makes you excited. Go for it.
You're just going to set me up and throw me to the wolves. Okay.
Yes, I'm hoping you fall flat, but you rarely do. So I'm just
off the top of my head. Well, they have a new front gate.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, it's actually really ornate. It kind of a little reminds me of kind of how Texas Renaissance Festival has their front gate. But it's brand new. It's really huge, looks nice. It's a little, how shall I put this? Anachronistic for the time period.
For the medieval time period?
Yeah, I mean, it looks a little too maybe Renaissance, really, as opposed to medieval. Okay. But it's very, it's really nice. It's a very nice new front gate they have. And I've been very impressed. I know all the cast have really enjoyed it so far this first weekend too.
Fantastic. Good.
Multi-level kind of, I mean, it's really,
oh, wow.
You'll see it and be impressed. Trust me.
Very cool. And how's the pub thing at the end of the day? Are you a part of that?
Oh yeah, totally. Okay. It's I mean, that's not new. That's still going on, but they're still doing it at the Trip to Jerusalem pub. We're a little cramped on the stage. I'm not going to lie. They had it at Elvin Hill stage for a couple of years, and we were more spread out. But it's cramped, but it's better for the patrons because they all get to go in at the pub and enjoy, and I totally see that. So awesome. I can't complain too much, and they have really tried to revamp the sound in there and work it better than they used to in the past. And I think what they've done is essentially we're all plugged in. I mean, all of us.
Very cool.
So it's very aggressive. Yeah, they have multiple sound people working on it. It's kind of hilarious. It's like, no, we're putting all our sound guys at the end of the day, boom, right here, we're doing this. And that's how they're pulling it off. And so far, well, I mean, I think they did a pretty good job last weekend. So
very cool. Well, we're going to talk about the song Frog Kissin' today, but first let's do some upcoming shows. March 17th, I'm playing at Wings Cafe and Tap House in Marietta, Georgia. The 23rd through the 31st, I'll be doing Sherwood Forest Fair.
Hold on, man. Hold on. Don't rush so much. What's Wings Cafe and Tap House? Dude, tell us more.
Wings Cafe and Tap House I don't really have much more because I got hired to do a show for St. Patrick's Day, and it's in Marietta, Georgia, an hour from my house, and I'm looking forward to doing it because, of course, it's also my birthday show. And
that's going to be on a Sunday, I believe, March 7th. It
is on a Sunday, so I'm looking forward to doing that. But I don't have many details, I'll be honest. I also have a show that's on the 16th, but I don't have all those details yet either. So we'll see how that comes.
So yeah, check Mark's website for that.
But then the 23rd through the 31st, I'll be in Sherwood back in Texas. On the 28th, Andrew and I have a Dragon Con folk music concert together.
Since he's going to be in town. I mean, come on.
You may as well. And then April 19th through 21st, we have a Jordan Con. I'm doing Jordan Con, rather. Not we. I am doing Jordan Con.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Well, maybe by we, you mean you and one of your musical daughters.
Well, no. Actually, to be fair, when I say we, they do this thing called they're doing this thing that they just started called the Yearly Brawl, and it's basically a big pub gathering. And I did it last year, and it was fantastic. So I was really excited about that. But there will be a lot of other people singing along with that too. So,
okay.
What about you?
Well, I mean, I'm pretty much booked up for the next 7 weekends at the Sherwood Forest Fair. So, I mean, it's boom. Yeah, you're going to be there at the end of March. I'm there all March and most of April. Then I'm going to have a few weeks to get ready and then go to New Jersey. Oh, wow. New Jersey Ren Fair. That'll be 4 weekends there. And, well, I mean, I'm kind of getting ahead of myself. But after that, then I'll be hitting the straight from New Jersey. I'll be driving 1,400 miles to go 2 weekends, the North Dakota Ren Fair. Yeah, that.
You haven't been booked there before, have you?
Well, I was last year.
Okay, you were. I was trying to remember if this is the one that you did last year or not.
Yeah, they changed the dates. Last year they had it right between Gen Con and Dragon Con in August, and they said, well, let's do different dates this year and try it out. And Larry, the guy who runs that, he's he's a character. So he just said, let's change it up, and it happens to go right after New Jersey 2 weekends. So I'm just like, okay, well, can I do this? And I look at the map. Yep, 1,400 miles during the week. Boom, I'm there. So I'm going back to Austin from New Jersey the long way, the scenic route.
Very cool.
But no, it should be fun, and at the very least, it'll be nice and cool in late June for me.
Right. You don't want to enjoy the nice, comfortable weather of Texas?
I'll let the Texans handle that for now. I'll be a what is it? A Fargo-Indian? Fargo, North Dakota. Yeah, it's a fun place. Actually, I was really impressed with Fargo last year. It's a fun little town. I like that.
Cool.
I mean, it's a city. It is a city, but it's a city that never grew upwards, just outwards.
Yeah. Oh wow.
And so it's large, but I mean, I don't know if they have
You need to post lots of pictures when you get.
I will. I will do that. Last year I was so rushed, but this year I'll try to do more of that.
Make some time for that. So we have a new Bards blog. It's going to come out at least once a month, usually the beginning of the month. And that's all over on Patreon. And again, that's free to sign up and follow that blog.
Bards blog, party time. Excellent.
But it will have some updates of our shows. Once a month, we'll be updating that. So make sure you're following that so you can find out when and where we're performing next. And we are planning on recording, while I'm in Sherwood, planning on recording a new CD. The album is called Another Fair to Remember. And it will feature some new stuff, new songs, right?
Yeah, and it'll be a good precursor CD.
I'm
for our future CD, another Faire to remember.
Right. And then another Faire to remember. I have worked up a list of songs that I'm going to throw at Andrew, and we haven't actually talked about it, but we'll get to that hopefully before the Faire starts. So before we start practicing these songs and recording the songs, that is. So we'll see how it all comes together.
And speaking of songs that you threw at me,
today we're talking about Kissin.
He got the segue. Yes.
I wasn't entirely certain, but I was pretty sure that was the plan. So, Frog Kissin is a song that we put on our CD, Brobdingnagian Fairy Tales, and we've been playing it for a long time. And thought we'd talk about that song today on the show. And share as many stories as we can because it was an interesting one that we've been playing and people have enjoyed it for a long time.
Oh, yeah.
Part of
including me.
Yeah. So let's dive into this song. So the song apparently was originally recorded by Chet Atkins, I learned.
Oh, okay.
Though I think it was written by Buddy Kalb, as far as I'm finding. And I think Chet Atkins owns speaking of, before this, we were talking about who owns copyrights and such. Well, I think Chet Atkins owns the copyright to it and somehow ended up with it. I don't know if it was shady reason for it or not.
Sometimes they'll buy the rights to a song. They did that a lot back then.
Yeah, so I think he owns the copyright, or owned. I think someone else now owns the copyright to it. But I think he had gotten a hold of it. This is all what I've randomly run into over the years. But I learned about it in 1990. So in 1990, I was living in Italy, and I did this Christian retreat. We went to... Oh, what is that? There's an island. Oh, geez, I'm drawing a blank on the name. There's an island off the coast of Spain. For
those of you wondering, he would say all this kind of thing all the time during college when I met him, and we always hated his guts because he's like, "Oh, this island off the coast of Spain." It's like, yes, you've traveled through the Mediterranean, you lucky bastard. Because it's just he would go to Italy every single winter, and it's just yeah.
I got it. Okay, thank you.
So nice.
Internet, but Ibiza.
Yeah, totally envious of all the way what he could see back then. So
well, this is a wild trip actually because we took a bus from Vicenza where we lived all the way to what was it? Into Spain. I'm drawing a blank on the city that we went in. We got onto there's a boat. It was a catamaran, this giant catamaran, and someone called it the barf boat, and everyone was laughing. Everyone was laughing because apparently in the past there's some barfing that might have occurred. And we get out on this boat, and then we get out on the ocean, and then the rocking waves. Woo, everyone just started losing it. I was no exception.
Wow.
But we get out to Ibiza, and we're having a wonderful time. And they'd have these evening concerts. And Ed Kilburn was a Christian artist it was one that was out there, and he played this song. He also did this is the first person I learned from. A Cat Came Back. Which I eventually, filked but he was out part of this big concert, and I enjoyed the music. And this was one of the songs that I really loved. It hit that fantasy thing because it's all about taking the idea of the kissing the toad, and finding love. And some people are toads and therefore kiss them anyways, and maybe they'll turn into true love or something. But the song was originally written in a 4/4 time. But when I was trying to play it on the auto harp, and I feel like this was like in 99 when we started doing this. It might've been 2000. Oh, but one of those two. It was like one of the first songs that we brought to the group, that I brought to the group. And I was trying to figure out how I played in 4/4, and I could not, for the life of me, make it sound, anything but contemporary playing it in 4/4. So I was like, well, let's try 3/4. And so I like picked it up and I started, working on the 3/4 time, and lo and behold, it came together, which is when I finally brought it to you.
Which I'd never heard it before, so I had no basis of comparison. So for me, 3/4 sounded fine. No problem. But that was a challenge, because originally it was kind of like, that's a nice sounding folk song. It has a good flowy rhythm, and a good lyrics and a good message, and it just this is pretty cool. Okay, what do I do? And it was tough. This was one of those early songs that I think we probably had one of the most difficult times coming up with an arrangement for me.
Oh yeah.
I don't know if you remember this very well, but
I don't.
I remember it very well, because it was tough. I tried a lot of different things, and and honestly, I think this was the song that you had the most influence on my arrangement.
Really?
Yeah, compared to probably every other one. I think I think it was very 50-50, because it was, I try a lot of different things, and you say, okay, try this. Okay, try this. Okay, I'll try this. Okay. And it was back and forth. And finally we just, it was very much, it wasn't like one of us would go back and work on something and come back and say, oh, let's, we went through and just kept trying something on a line again and again and again, until finally we kind of said, hey, that kind of works. Yeah. And it evolved a little bit from there, but just getting that initial concept of me doing this kind of flowy, dun 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 dun, up and down on the recorder, in the background, a very, very counter melody approach. Yeah, I think it worked really well, but there was a lot of experimentation until we were happy with it. And I've come to really enjoy my part, because it is very, sometimes part of the problem with arranging for a two-piece group is you don't want to overshadow the lyrics.
Right.
It's a lot of groups fall into the trap, especially at Ren Fair. You hear it all the time. The lyrics kind of get lost with the music because there's too many instruments. And
this song was, I think, a prime example of that, because since it was coming out of 4/4 time and moving into 3/4 time, I was shoving a lot more words into a lot.
You really were. But to be fair, this is one of your strengths. I've heard you being able to, like, okay, let's just I'd see the lyrics and I'd hear the melody and be like, you can't fit that, man. You need to change the melody a bit. And you'd be like, no, I can fit it. And boom, lo and behold, you'd somehow,
man. I can do it, man.
You'd fit that square peg in a round hole every freaking time. And I'd be like, how did you do that? And you do it. So, that is by far, to me, that's like in your top 10 of musical strengths, because that's like wizardry to me every time I see you do that. It amazes me. But this is one of those examples where you do put a lot of words in there. And you remember early on, some of those words, you'd be like, you'd stumble over the words.
Yeah, I still stumble.
No, you got better.
I know.
But no, it was this early on. This was also one of the early word stumblers, because it was a challenge. But but the beautiful thing was, once we got comfortable with it, I started doing a little bit of kind of a choreography on stage.
Yeah.
And this was one of the first songs that I actually tried that, where I'd kind of like lean to the one side and then lean to the other, and move the recorder with it, and then go with size and do all this kind of, it was subtle, but it was a really early attempt at that. And I think it kind of helped define us as a group that we did little things like that on their own weren't much, but when you couple it with all the other little things, it really helped define us.
And of course, when you start doing those side to side little parts, I started following you, which I think added to it.
Oh yeah.
It was again that group thing, the joint effort that really made it.
And it evolved organically on stage. It's not like definitely. The arrangement. Yeah, we worked on at my place, as I recall. Night after night after night early on, but on stage, that just sort of gradually evolved. One of us would try something, and then the other one would respond, and if it worked, we'd keep doing it. But that's normally how groups do stuff. Somebody will say a joke on stage, and it goes over well, and they try to remember it and to use it again. But we really went with a lot of different flavors: stage movement, blocking, comments, dialogue. Sometimes even tone, and all these different elements of the song. We really evolved it and tried to keep mixing it up as we evolved. And I think this is one of the best examples of that for us, honestly. Yeah. Especially in the first few years.
Yeah.
And I've come to love the song.
I do too. I still love it. It is still a challenge because with the chords of the song, there are a lot of chords. Which has never been one of my favorite things to do, because I do this. That was the other thing. The original key, it was originally in the key of C, and I changed it to A minor, and then it still comes back into the C for the chorus. But it was originally in the key of C. But there's a lot of those little chords, and sometimes I get my fingers mixed up when I'm doing it. It's definitely one I have to practice before I do it. So
do those finger exercises. Yes,
I know. I need those finger exercises.
But no, yeah, it's just a fun song. The best part about it is generally everybody likes it.
Yeah.
The thing that always surprises me is everybody likes it, but it was never one of the people's favorites. I don't know. It's always up there, but it's never. It's
not one that we got requests. Usually when I think of favorites, it's like it's a request. It's rarely is this song requested, and yet everyone seems to love it.
Right.
Is the way I look at it. And I think that's the perfect way to think about it.
I don't know. Any idea why?
Again, it fits. It certainly fits our the Brobdingnagian Bards image. When I think of the Bards, I think of us as largely fantasy-based musicians, Sure. And this one is, and Brobdingnagian Fairy Tales is like the perfect album for that, because it's fairy tales. And this is the perfect example of that idea. It's all about. There's a little bit of a fantasy thrown in with the fairy tale and merged together into something new and beautiful and contemporary as well. It just wonderfully fits into that motif.
Okay.
So,
I'll buy that. I think it's just a fact that it's a very relaxed song.
Yeah.
It's a fun song. It's a happy song, kind of, but it's not a high energy song.
Yeah.
And I think that's why people don't really jump on choosing it, because a lot of the ones they choose are more of the high energy songs.
Yeah.
That's what people request. But everybody still likes it. I think, to me, it feels like it's comfort food song.
Yeah. And it's a fun song. So, I think what we should do is we should play that. We'll come back afterwards to say a few farewells. But this is Frog Kiss. And interestingly, it was actually also recorded for Gullible's Travels, which is the CD, our second official CD that we released. And but this is the arrangement from the Brobdingnagian Fairy Tales. Here's Frog Kissin'.
You remember in the fairy tale how the wicked witch's spell turned the handsome prince to a toad. By the power of potion, she handed him the notion he was lower than the dirt in the road. And though she left him green and warded, her evil plans were thwarted. There chanced to happen by a young miss who, in spite of his complexion, offered him affection and broke the wicked curse with her kiss. And if you've never been frog kissing, and you don't know what you've been missing, if you've never been charmed breaking, and you've never been handsome prince making, but you gotta slow down and turn around and bend down and kiss you a frog. Once upon a time ago, I was down and feeling low like a lonely frog in a pond. My life was just a joke, and I was just about to croak, cause I've been zapped by life's wicked wand. But in the depths of my depression, there came a true expression of love from a person so sweet. She gave me warm, fuzzy feelings, feelings that were healing, and she knocked me off me little web feet. And if you've never been frog kissing, then you don't know what you've been missing. There's a wealth of opportunity under reach and never be lost. And if you've never been charmed breaking, and you've never been handsome prince making, you gotta slow down and turn around and bend down and kiss you a frog. Now there's a happy ever after land, deep in the heart of man, where prince and princess abide. But all we get are glimpses of those handsome prince or princess, cause they're covered with this green warty hide. And though they're full of life's potential, they're lacking one essential to enable them to shine like a star. That's a handsome guy or missus to smother them with kisses and love them just the way that they are. And that's a secret of frog kissing, and you can do it too if you'll just listen. There's a wealth of opportunity under reach and never be lost. And that's a secret of charm breaking, and that's a secret of handsome prince making. Just gotta slow down and turn around and bend down and kiss you. Slow down and turn around and bend down and kiss you. Slow down and turn around and bend down and kiss you. Frog. Ribbit.
All right, Andrew. Well, thanks. Thank you all so much for listening to the podcast. I hope you had a fun time. I enjoyed chatting with you, Andrew.
Always a pleasure. And going down memory lane a little again. Hey.
Yeah, I know it. If you want to find out more about the song, including the lyrics, you can head on over to our show notes at bardbootleg.com, which is where you can find everything about this podcast. You can check us out at thebards.net, and of course, go get the CD, Brobdingnagian Fairy Tales. And until we get back, hopefully we'll have another show out for you next month. So stick around for that, and we'll talk to you later. Laters.
Take care.
Brobdingnagian Bards podcast is produced by Mark Gunn and Andrew McKee. Sign up to our mailing list to download free MP3s and get monthly updates of what's new. Find it all at thebards.net.
Thebards.net. I don't know.